All right, Annette.
Hello.
Annette, where do you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Hartford, Connecticut.
Tell me about your family. You had mom and dad.
Okay. So I was born into a large Italian family. I was the last out of seven, four brothers and three girls. It was a tough life. My parents worked hard, drank hard, and fought hard. And we grew up like that. We grew up in a very tumultuous environment. I grew up very young, learning how to protect myself from the brutal abuse that my parents endured with one another. They would fight. I can remember, as long as I can remember, they would fight with broken glass, knives, forks. And I can remember as a young child having to protect my younger brother. And as soon as I knew the fights were going to start, I just knew to clear off the whole table. And I would stand in front of where the knife drawer was, or the bigger knife drawer was. And I would stand in the corner of the bar. And well, we called it a bar, but it was a table. And I would have to stop them from a young age. And I learned at that age how to really watch what people were going to do next. Like really study people to see, if they're going to be in a bad mood, what I should do, how I should calm them down. Because I always felt like I needed to make peace. So what I found out with myself was that I had so much love to give, but it was so unsafe to love anybody. So I had four brothers and sisters, and two sisters, and I can't say that I was loved at all. I didn't feel love, and all I knew is that I had all this love bottled up inside me. So the brothers were very, very abusive in certain ways. Every single one of them was different. And then I had an older sister and another sister. That sister decided to run away when she was 16, and she ran away to California. And she met up with a group, and from what I was told as a young kid, because I was 12 then, I was told that it was a cult, and it was from Charles Manson. And they had escaped right before the Tate's murders. So I was a young kid, and that's what I was led to believe. So they would constantly be in my life, the cult. My sister was the ringleader, along with another guy, which I never even say his name. And literally, I was used. I was used very young, not just by him, but it just seemed by a lot of men. I didn't know why. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what the anatomy was of a man and what I was supposed to do. But I was told that this was something that I wanted, except I didn't know what that was that I was supposed to want. So the cult and other family members, I was a young girl, and at that time, I wasn't respected at all. So the cult came along, and I thought, anything's better than my parents fighting and trying to kill each other. So, plus they had animals. They had people, that I could be friends with. But little did I know that the cult was exactly a cult. It started off where, they would give you a lot of presents and make you feel real special, and that you were, somebody that they wanted to be around. And at that time, I just wanted to be loved. I didn't know what that felt like. I know what abuse felt like and how to be hurt, but I didn't know what love felt like. And this was the closest thing I thought I was close to love there, but it wasn't.
Was Charles Manson a part of this cult?
So what happened with that is the ringleader guy, he was like Charles Manson, and they got into a fight. And the cults, the guys, as you know, they have to be, each guy got to be the big macho man. So they didn't get along. So my sister and that guy split to Connecticut. And that's when I was 12 years old.
So they were at one point part of Manson?
Part of it, right before the Tate's murders. Mm. And I was 12, and I first met the guy in a dingy apartment. And the first thing he did was took me into the bedroom and then shoved his tongue down my throat. And then said that that's something I wanted, which I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know that's what you did. So I was scared, but they kept having me come back and having me come back. And they just had control over me. They brainwashed me with cows because they moved to a big farm. At this time, so they, somehow or another, my sister talked another gentleman into renting a big mansion. So she rented a big mansion with a lot of people. And it wasn't just derelicts or anything like that. It was popular people. It was people that had a lot of money. So they got a lot of money, and they just dominated everybody. So that's when the sex came in, and that's when the drugs came in, and that's when the orgies came in, which I didn't want any part of. And I was trying to speak up. But they had guns. They had heroin. They had things, you know, that were dangerous. And
What was your relationship like with your sister at this
terrible. Time? She was like a queen, and everybody was her mistress.
Even though Soft White Underbelly consists of a lot of videos, it's really still a photography project to me. And if you appreciate the photography, sometimes it's difficult to enjoy it when it's scrolling down the screen, which is the only option I had in this horizontal format on YouTube. So last year we came out with the first Soft White Underbelly book, which is a collection of the best portraits from the thousands of interviews I've done. Each portrait in this book is accompanied by an interesting quote from the person's interview.
Oh my God.
There's more.
Wow. These aren't as bad as I thought. I look like a witch.
I will not be reprinting this book when it sells out. So once it's gone for good. You can order yours at softwhiteunderbelly.org. $125, $150 for a signed copy. And thank you for watching.
Mistress. We lived in such a big mansion. Like I said, it was the Rye House. That we'd have to share bath water. So we would share bath water. Then sexual things started. Marriages were arranged. My marriage was arranged. I've been married almost 44 years. I thought once we escaped, Mark, that we would, get divorced or go on our separate ways. But no, we stayed together. And I fought really, really hard to get past all the abuse, all the sexual abuse, because I was such a young child.
Are you still married today?
I'm still married today.
And what is that relationship like?
It's very nice. He's a gentleman. He's a very nice man. My daughter right now is an alcoholic, so we're raising my 11-year-old granddaughter, excuse me, who just turned 12 yesterday. So things have been really hard, trying to support somebody, at my age or my husband's age. So yes, we are taking care of a youngin'. But it was really, really, really hard for me. It took me a good 30 years to be unbrainwashed, to tell you the truth. We weren't in society for a good 10 to 12 years. So I had to relearn everything. I was scared to get up out of a chair. I was scared to eat. I was scared to drive in a car. I thought for sure. You know, I was just so in a box. And then the sex got really bad, and the drugs got really bad. And it wasn't just me, it was many people. And I felt an obligation to get some people out, and I succeeded. They, after my husband and I were kicked out, so to speak, you know, we were shot at. I'm surprised we didn't get killed, but yes, we were shot at. That Christ was born once, why couldn't he be born again? And I think because the man was Jewish and he picked and chose what he wanted out of the Bible, it made sense to people that didn't know the Bible. You know, just, you know, you follow the master. You believe me, I will, you know, do this or I will do that. I will give you all the money and the riches of the world. So it really turned into what I saw as I grew older there. The men were mostly interested in the woman because some of us were really young and some of them were really old. So, you know, it turned, and then a lot of, you know, pot smoking. Then I realized that heroin, people were doing heroin. I didn't. That's when I really draw the line. Women were used multiple times, which I didn't know. You know, would sneak into the, you know, master's bedroom, which I had no clue. And boys, there was homosexuality. There was all kinds of things going on. It was what you would call a typical cult. So I left there when I was almost 25 years old.
So this is roughly what year?
What year was about 1984.
Okay.
I left there. Literally no clothes. We went to...
So it's well after Manson.
Yes, he was in jail. Yep. They, let's see, it must have been like 71, early 70s, that when they really left Manson.
You started?
I started when I was 12, which was what, 1969? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did it fall apart?
It really started to fall apart when my husband and I left. And there was a lot of infighting, especially against my sister and the ringleader. But the fights were brutal, and he was an alcoholic, which was another thing that I would not tolerate, was someone who was an alcoholic. I grew up with that. My father and mother were extreme alcoholics. They fought a lot, so I did not want to be part of that again. Rather than forks and knives, it was guns, and somebody was bound to be killed. Almost one night, somebody was killed. You know, there was a kind of like a man came over who just was not himself. He was just not a right person. Well, my sister just pushed and tried to get him to push her so she could shoot him. And I was there. I was just a young kid. But I saw her hand in the pocket, and I saw what she was going to do. And I was just a young kid. So there was, my whole childhood was completely taken away. When I left, I didn't know anything. So I started from scratch. I studied and studied for over probably 30 years. I talked to every medium there was. I thought for sure my family was cursed, that something terrible was attacking us. But instead, it was really just the bad juju, you might want to say, or just generational bad
Trauma gets
stuff.
handed down.
Yeah. And
I'm sure your parents had stuff they saw when they were kids.
Yeah. I mean, they're second generation Italians. They worked really hard. They had 7, I hate to say it, terrible kids, except for me. You know,
How many years were you in the cult?
12 to like 25. Yeah, my message really is to, you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Think for yourself.
Think for yourself. You know, don't let anybody grab your essence or grab your mind or, you know, reach for the stars. If I can overcome everything I overcome, which was so much, here was a person that was afraid of everything because that's how I was treated. And you know what, Mark? I had so much love to give, but it was so unsafe to love anybody. So by the time I realized what was going on, I was just bursting with love. Bursting. Like, you know, I just wanted to love. So that brought me all the way back to, you know, a lot of trials, a lot of, you know, scary stuff. They came after us again after we left, just harassing us. And it was terrible. It was just like Jim Jones, Charles Manson, whatever kind of cult leader you would think of. That's exactly how a cult is. And, you know, maybe it was the early days of child trafficking. I don't know, you know, because I know the young girls were...
Do you feel like you were brainwashed?
Oh, totally. I was totally brainwashed.
And what lures you into that situation where you're...
Where I was brainwashed?
Yeah. I know you wanted to escape your parents.
I know I wanted to escape my parents. I just thought, listening to them, I was going to have...
So you just had a terrible home situation.
Home life,
so
yeah.
you want to get away and you end up in a situation that's probably worse.
Right. It was a lot worse. You know, and my parents tried to stop it, but they were older, right? They died when I was 30 and 31, you know, and I grew up thinking, oh boy, my brothers and sisters, there's somebody to look up to, and it wasn't true at all.
Where is your sister today?
I don't know. I know she went to Costa Rica. I know she's in Arizona, but I would stay clear of her. I wouldn't go anywhere near her. There's a lot of evil people out there. That's for sure.
What regrets do you have in your life?
What regrets? I wanted to go to college, and my sister kept stopping me. But I really wanted to be educated. I wanted to continue, and I thought I wanted to help children, but it didn't work that way. And my whole life was completely taken over. It wasn't. I didn't feel like I had control over, not even to this moment. I don't have any control over my life, except my thoughts.
What was your husband's background that he ended up in this cult?
It was his cousins, and his cousin met actually a Jewish brother and sister, and they stayed. Well, it started up in upstate New York in a cabin, so of course everybody wants to go up there. Girls, you know, sleeping, whatever you might have up there. So that was the allure. But once you got up there and you realized that there was one man that had all the women, and then the other guys were monks, so to speak. Yeah. So it really was about them. And somehow or another, they convinced a boatload of people to worship them.
How many people?
Oh, I would say about 20 or more. After we left, they even had more people. I mean, and there's people to this day who will still, you know, go beside them. Well, the man had died, but the woman's still alive yeah, there's still people that would do anything to be next to them. When, to me, my whole entire childhood was completely gone. My innocence was gone. My decisions were gone. I was, marriage was arranged and that was it. I can remember the day we left with 2 broken down cars with $500 and, off we were. We became caretakers, so where there's a will, there's a way. You can overcome anything, as we know. You can overcome anything. So that was my desire, was to overcome and to be a better person, to really love like I want to, even though, I'm kind of stuck right now. But, yeah.
How's your daughter doing?
I wish she was doing better. Yeah, it's sad. We have the alcoholic gene in our family. And she's beautiful, blonde, just smart. But she can't stop right now. So we've had Brooke for all these years. And the baby daddy's no good. So it's sad when you don't, that's sad. To me, anything that happens to a young child, just leave them alone. Just leave us alone. If I had to pick like one hurting spot in me, it would be the child within. It didn't get to develop. It didn't get to love and experience.
Annette, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
Really hold strong to your faith. Whatever your faith is, whether you believe in God or the universe or higher being, that's the only thing that got me through this, was knowing that things always work out. We've got to think about the positive. And then you got to think that there's good there, even though you've seen so much bad.
All right. Annette, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I wish
Thank you, Mark.
Wish you lots of luck from here on out.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.